Okay, so we're here. It's the second week we're here again in the studio, but this time around, you might see that. I hope the cameras are not picking up any lens flares. There are two bald people in the studio, plus one. Of course, I want Sashi there, because you won't see him in the camera. He's walking around. He's the guy who makes sure that all this is running, and our voice, a beautiful voice. And apparently, it says that Vicks has a very deep voice.
Let's see. Let's find out.
Why sexy? Sexy voice. I don't even know that if I have the voice for the show already. I think maybe the host should be Vicks from here on in. But I think that's a good segue for me to introduce the person I'm here with today. Like, you know the format. You guys listened to it last week. So the format is we have people who come in to actually have discussions. And you'll see these people again and again. And usually we'll cover certain topics. And before we go into the topic today, we have Vicks. But maybe, if you haven't heard the intro, I'm going to let Vicks introduce himself. So Vicks, why don't you let the people know who you are?
Okay. Thanks, Nigesh. So let me just straight away jump into. I'm actually Vicks Kanagasingam. Actually, my full name is Vicks Kanagasingam. I had to brand it as Vicks so it's easy for everybody. I'm an engineer by profession, electrical electronic. Been in the telco, IT industry, IoT now, last 28 years. I've worked for multinational, but I love building companies, startups. So I've done many successful startups and also startups that fail.
Okay.
Today,
humble, very humble.
Today, coming to my final tenure with Xperanti, as the CEO of Xperanti. I finished with Xperanti for my 3 years with them, and we've managed to build a nationwide IoT network, so they're ready to move to the next level. I'm now going into next year into strategic advisor for a few organizations, and Leaderonomics is one of them. I love coaching, so I'm a certified coach. I coach startups and companies that want to transform.
Right.
So I enjoy a very, insightful debate with anyone.
Oh, he's being very nice at this point. I'm just afraid what's going to come out after this when you start talking. But first thing first. We were having this conversation off air. Right now. And that conversation is actually about our hair. That rhymed. Hair. So I'm going to pick up that conversation for a while because, Sashi cannot be included here because he's the only fella who's not a bald fella in this room. But how do you keep your head so shiny?
Okay.
I know.
So let me start with this simple quote I always tell people. It's my shiny head is a solar panel for my sex machine. All right. So I have to make sure that I keep it trimmed. Every 2 days, I give it a good shave and make sure it's shiny as possible. And I did tell you earlier that make sure you give it a good oil, put a nice cream, and shave it yourself. So I don't go to the barber; I do it myself.
I do it myself as well, but I really don't know. Like, 'cause every time I see you, you're still like really well, like kept. It's shiny. It's never got a little bit of stubble, so it's like on point.
Okay, maybe because I'm a wiser person, so there's no room for the hair to grow anymore.
So that's a backhanded to me, like, wise up, boy. But okay, let me ask you this question. Usually the topics you talk about is very timeless, but timely, right? And I asked this question to Sashi and Andrea last week about this year, but I'm not going to ask you that same question. Instead, even from your introduction, you've already said about how you've been working in some form or another, from engineering to even startups, but technology and how technology has been progressing, you've been at the forefront of it. So I want to ask you this perspective. How has the 21st century been for you? Not the 20th, the 21st.
Okay, for me, the 21st century is very fast-paced, very, very fast-paced. I was just telling my team the other day that technology is accelerating very, very fast.
Okay.
All right. Where mankind can't keep up.
Mankind can't keep up. Right.
So, because there's so much movement of technology from AI and IoT and broadband and and I feel COVID was it's not a good thing what happened, but it was it created impact to everyone that say, hey, hold on. Technology is moving so fast, the man can't keep up, and COVID has come and we couldn't do something about it. All right. So it's a wake up call for a lot of people.
Right.
All right. And what I've seen is there is a need now to slow down the acceleration of technology.
Okay.
There's a need to bring people up to speed.
Right.
And I'm starting to see that example. Very very good example is 5G.
Okay.
Everyone talks about 5G. They've been talking for the last 5 years. All right.
Is it only 5 years? I thought it was been quite a while, right? We've been talking about 5G.
Yeah, 2015 they were talking
Right.
about 5G because 4G they were testing out a lot of things. Now most of the mobile operators worldwide realize it's going to cost a lot of money. What's the application we're going to use for 5G? Is that the application we use for 5G, is it going to be something important for mankind?
Okay.
And that's a killer question, and everyone's struggling to find
Right.
out. So you can see they're starting to delay.
Right.
All right. And the delay is because where's the business case? Before we would get a sexy technology, we'll buy it, put it on play, and everyone move and force mankind to follow the technology.
Right.
So most of the operators have said we're going to slow down. We'll wait.
Right.
Let's see. And next year we'll take another 5 more years to see a nationwide 5G network in Malaysia.
Right.
Even 5 to 10 years.
Right.
All right. So one example.
Wasn't that a bit too late already? Because
No, it's not too late. It's not too late. Let me say this.
Okay.
Most of the countries have not maximized 4G yet. 4G has not been maximized. So
Even after all this time, like so long already.
yeah. So if you look at your phone today,
Right.
most of you guys will realize when you make a call,
Right.
voice call, it will move from 4G to 3G.
Yeah, I noticed this just recently that because I'm on Maxis. So recently, suddenly I saw this new icon at the top. What? Voice, LTE voice.
Wow, Volt.
So
Yeah,
meaning when you call, you are calling on 4G instead
Yes.
of dropping to
3G.
Yes.
Yeah. So most of the mobile operators are now densifying the network with 4G for across
Right.
voice and data.
Right.
So that's one example, 5G. Another example, if you remember when Apple launched their iPhone,
Yeah.
all right,
2007.
early 2007, all right, the beginning, people used to queue up like man, all the way the queue, all right. Even
until like last year, right?
Yeah,
Before the whole pandemic.
Yeah,
thing.
but the thing is, you notice the last 4 to 5 years,
Right.
the queue is getting shorter.
But that's because you can pre-order it online, get it sent to you. So you
That's
don't
one.
exactly-
Second is, if you go and study what's happening, most of the users are realizing I don't have to change my phone every year.
True.
All right. So they're becoming very conscious of their spending,
Right.
where they want to spend,
Right.
and that created a new market for new players with a cheaper phone into the market,
Right.
the likes of Oppo. All right. So there is a conscious movement where saying, do I need to spend 3,000 on a phone? All right.
Okay, so let's go on that tangent for a while. I know we haven't even started the topic, but this is
Yeah.
interesting because it's been a wonder of mine.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that inventions or innovations, especially now in the 21st century, is happening because there's a use case or a business case for it, right?
Justification.
And of course, as we went through the 21st century, smartphones came in, technology changed, and this phenomena that you mentioned, which is we don't need to change our technology piece every year. But then, why are companies still producing technology every year?
Okay.
I mean, why do we
Okay,
need
so
new phones every year?
this is basically companies have to show they are innovative. All right.
Why?
It's to show they're in the market. I mean, the point is if you don't come up with new phones, new laptops, desktops, and you'll be seen that you're not a very innovative company. All right,
Okay.
that's one. Second, there's also this need shareholder value, which I'm very much against, where they're trying to show the market,
Right.
because they're a listed company.
Okay.
It's driven by capitalism,
Right.
to show that we are doing something with your money.
Right.
All right, we're being very innovative.
Right,
All right, and it's just creating the buzz. All right.
I remember this graphic that was once I was watching a video. And they were talking about why is there not meaningful innovation happening?
Correct.
Not innovation, but not meaningful innovations happening. And they showed this sort of bar chart of like how money is spent in an organization, and how the bulk of the money or the bulk of the spend is to increase share value or shareholder value. A very small amount is on R&D.
Correct.
and this maybe this may be relevant to you as a CEO. You may have seen this. This drives CEOs' actions.
Yeah.
Because it's not about creating things that are useful anymore.
Yep.
It's about increasing the share value for the shareholders.
Yeah. So let me say this: I'm not one of those type of CEOs. So every
Right.
company that I've started or built, for me, I give you a very good example. When the shareholders invest in a company,
Right.
and then the team has been built, it's a two-way thing. It's
Right.
not. There's no. I don't think we are obligated to the shareholders.
Right.
If the shareholders want to make money, they can go either play the market or put in a fixed deposit and earn the interest. Right. So we're helping them make more money.
Right.
At the same token, we have to make sure the money is used to make an impact to the world.
Okay.
All right. So everything we do, that's my belief. So everything we do are actually making an impact to make the world a better place. That should be a primary reason. So it's a follow through. All right. It's very important. So I think there is going to be a change in the shareholder mindset. There's already talking about SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and ESG. Where are we putting our money? Are we going to actually invest in making the world a better place? All right. The new breed of CEOs are the ones who are going to actually be very, very clear in their responsibilities.
Right.
That means one is to build an organization that
Right.
is sustainable and profitable
Right.
and predictable.
Right.
All right. So that the shareholders are clear where it's going. And the second is to make sure that the solution they're providing is very, very important. It's making the world a better place in any shape and form.
Right, right.
So coming back to your earlier point, where companies come up with technology, new stuff, right? Why people are not embracing it? It's simple. The businesses don't stack up. So when I go back to IoT, when we set up Xperanti and we build the IoT space Industry 4.0,
Right.
most of our clients say, listen, we got all this sexy technology, but I need to find a way to save money. Why should I spend 10 million ringgit to save 2 million ringgit?
Right.
All right? So it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So the way we went to market was always about solving the customer problem
Right.
and helping them justify the business case.
Right.
It's so that they feel that they invested $1 million, they're going to save 5 million.
Okay.
All right? And the business case is super important.
Right.
All right. Even you as an individual today, you're asking yourself. We talked about your laptop. Why did you buy it? It's local, but it's best spec. It meets your requirement.
Yeah.
It's not about the brand. It meets your requirement.
Yeah.
It meets your needs. It solves your problem.
Right.
All right. So it's super important that even a B2C market is about solving in the individual person's problem. Now there is the 80-20 rule. There is about the 2% of the or the 10% or the 20% is willing to spend the money for branding. Like, that's fine.
Right.
But majority of companies, it's all about the numbers, bottom line and top line. All right. So in this country, SMEs are struggling. They are the ones that are saying you got all this beautiful AI technology, big data, but I can't embrace it.
And in case for the listeners out there, we are based in Malaysia, so that's the reference, Malaysia.
Okay. So I think that when I say Malaysia, it's across the globe.
Okay.
All right. If you talk to the guys in Asia, even in Europe, SMEs are embracing technology. As long as it helps them solve the problem and reduce the cost or
Right.
make money,
Right.
they're not going to spend technology because it's sexy.
Right.
Even the big boys are beginning to think like that. All right, like DHL in Germany is embracing IoT to track their rail cages around Europe because they want to reduce the cost and optimize the assets.
Right.
Because they're finding that they're producing more rail cages, not knowing where they are. And someone is saying, listen, we've got to find ways to reduce costs. And using simple IoT technology like Sigfox globally to track all the rail cages. All right, so it's not a Malaysian issue, it's a global issue when it comes to embracing technology.
Okay,
it's
so-
about solving problems.
So that's interesting there. I'm going to use that as a segue to finally introduce the topic because that reminded me of my experience when I was in Texas Instruments. So what we're actually discussing, and probably this is a question I'm going to pose to you, and maybe we can talk about this, is there a perception that from either a technological standpoint, an innovation standpoint, or pure just doing hard work, that mankind are getting lazier? We're getting slower. Now, the perspective here is this, like you just mentioned about that rail cage thing with DHL. I remember that back when I was working in Texas Instruments, being in engineering back there, and this was a good, now 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And at that point, we were talking about, we have issues with spare part count,
Yep.
inventory count, not matching up to order counts.
Yep.
Right, especially for the smaller tool bits. And that's probably because of during processing, during transfer and all that, something may have happened. Or even when a technician or an engineer in the line could be fixing a machine, that they're actually swapping it without actually recording it anywhere.
Correct.
And we were talking about, okay, how can we track this? How can we track this and not lose that money? Because it's cost savings. And the technology was available to actually implement RFID-based scanning.
Correct.
So it's basically as you walk in from point to point, as long as there's a RFID chip which is on the piece of equipment itself, or even an RFID tag, as long as the sensors are available, even at the door level, it can be tagged. It can show live that, okay, this item is moving from here to here to here to here to here. Final location was here.
Correct.
So we can actually track that. But the point I'm getting at is this was 12 years ago. I just check back and see how many other companies are using this. Until recently, where we start hearing about the Amazons, which are using these kind of things. But that's recent.
Okay.
12 years ago, we had things like this. But mankind seemed to not want to use technology.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other thing is also meaningful technology. You just said just now that, okay, unless there's a business case, then we create something. But isn't a lot of things that we created back in the 20s, from 20s to 70s, didn't actually have a business case? And it's something that people just wanted to do, to create, to actually improve people's lives. Like, example, the car.
Correct. Exactly.
That didn't have a business case. It just was increasing speed of locomotion.
Okay. So let me. I'm not talk about the industrial revolution yet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me go back to the fundamentals about the human race.
Right.
We are all born lazy.
Okay, let's wrap up the topic. But then we're all born lazy. Okay, finish.
we are all born lazy because we design as a human race a path of least resistance. We don't like resistance.
The theory of entropy, right?
Correct. Yeah. Now, and also because I take physics a bit, movement is against gravity.
Yeah.
All right. So sitting down doing nothing is easy, but moving is going against gravity, so there's tension. All right. So the human race has always been lazy. Right?
Okay.
That's why the only the fit and the strongest visionaries who wanted to move and explore the world moved. All right. That's why the human race spread throughout the world.
I know you're coming to a point that you're going to mention, but just a question to keep. That I really want to pick off your brain. Like, I can agree with you. Human beings are generally lazy, and because both engineers, we understand the physics and all that. But why do these select people? Push themselves beyond that, and they feel that's natural?
Okay, so that's interesting. Huh? So let me say, the select people are the ones that are questioning constantly.
Okay.
Why are we here?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right.
That's where empathy comes into play.
Okay.
They want to understand, what's next? How do I innovate? What is this the way the world is? All right. So they are the one need to move. So I go back a bit of history again.
Sure.
Then you go back to hunters and farmers. All right. So you need to feed yourself.
Right.
So you need to go out there and hunt. So when the hunters started going out, it then became where survival. You got the tigers, the lions, and you are going to attack. So you need to find ways to survive, fight or flight. Okay, and you also need to ability to capture the prey and bring it back home. All right, and then the job is done. All right, but it's a constant cycle. So those who went out started asking, where else can I go? All right, so you started breaking that barrier, expanding your box. All right, so coming back to our current age, suddenly you find this guy. Why is he so aggressive, wants to move? Why isn't he lazy? All right. So these are the guys who suddenly either read a book or had an experience in life that realized that if I continue doing this, I'm going to be like this. All right. I need to move forward. I don't have a helping hand. I need to survive. So the reason why people start to move forward is a bit of survival mode. All right. If I don't move forward, I'm going to either become weak, I'm going to fall sick, and I don't have money to have a good life. All right. So that's one of the drivers. Another driver is you had a bad experience.
Okay.
All right. That hit you and said, listen, you got to wake up.
Right.
You can't continue what you're doing.
Right.
All right. So there are many circumstances that move someone forward.
Right.
Then there's natural in their DNA that they wake up in the morning, they're ready to rock and roll, they're very positive and optimistic. Now, I do not know what has happened. Maybe it's the DNA, the upbringing, the family kind of thing. Or if someone had an experience and listen, for me, life is beautiful. The sun rises, sun sets, I move forward. All right? There's no right answer why. It's just nature. These are the people that you want to either engage and hang around, and that energy starts to flow. All right? Same with a company, a country, even a group of friends, you can tell. You always one or two guys who are very, excited, motivated, and then one wants to hang around with them.
And that's
Same
the
thing.
premise of any sort of organizational structure.
Absolutely,
kind of thing, right?
absolutely.
It's one nexus point which brings things forwards, and then everybody kind of follow that.
Correct. So coming back to your technology, why innovation, where you from a horse to a car.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you understand the Industrial Revolution 1, 2, 3, and 4, the steam engine was the first.
The first one,
all right?
correct,
So
yeah.
simple. The reason is they had to move steel from one location to another location. All right. They had to build railway lines.
Right.
There was a need to feed people. All right. When America was formed, they were going state by state. They were living around the coastal area. So if you go back a bit of history, Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest guy in the 17th, 18th century, he had to find ways to build steel mill and build a railway line. So there was actually going back to the funding, making sure the needs of the people were met.
Right.
All right. So you had to find ways to build a structure for that.
Right.
All right. Then came Henry Ford.
Right.
All right. I got why car. All right. He said, okay, horse, fine, but the horse falls sick. That's not enough. We have more people. Population has increased.
Right.
And then innovation comes in. How do I solve that problem?
Right.
See, I'm going to problem solving.
Right.
Again. So how do I solve? I build a machine with wheels and move people across. Right? So he was solving a problem.
Right.
Now, to ensure the problem is solved properly, he had to build a factory.
Right.
So that's when Industrial Revolution 2 started.
Right.
Right? Kind of thing. Then went to the next level.
third
All right? Third one is how do I make sure everything is automated, seamless, so I can produce the needs of the people, so that the population of the world is growing. All right? So then when factories started to automate, and you started to get a bit of internet coming into play.
Right.
All right?
Right.
Then you go to Industrial Revolution 4.
Right.
Now, Industrial Revolution 4 was not designed due to what's happening around. It was actually by the Germans. They sat down and realized, listen, we need to do something about it. And then in 2011-12, they came up with the importance of improving their manufacturing, because the Chinese were moving up in manufacturing. So they came up with some models, and they came up with 9 verticals, from cloud, big data, IoT. Internet was things, your phone is an IoT device, all right? Kind of thing. So they put this whole framework together and say, to embrace the next revolution, we need to embrace these verticals.
Right.
All right. To solve a problem.
Okay.
All right. Now you take that, you go to a company.
Right.
All right. It's all about problem solving. All right. So we've always been solving problem, but people did not realize that. Why did you buy a mobile phone? So I want to be able to communicate with my mom, my friend, my girlfriend, because it's a problem I got to solve.
Right.
Now, what phone you carry, it depends on your choice, your buying power. It's choice you make. Now, some people take a loan and buy a phone. Or they will have just a porridge and still buy a phone. All right? So that is fine. That's individual. So we are not here to judge them, because that's they are one. They want to do it, fine. So it's like a branding exercise. So everything is about solving the problem to make the world a better place.
See, it's amazing you brought up that example right there. There are people who actually not necessarily are trying to solve the real problem. They're trying to solve I would like this, right? Whether it's an expensive phone or something like that, and they'll take a loan to actually get that phone. So the question is this, because you mentioned that it's always about solving a problem. But is it purely to solve a problem, or is it to solve a business case and create a business case? Because, example, like Henry Ford, by creating the automobile, he created a business for himself, right? Even now, when companies so-called say that they're solving a problem, when they come up with the product, their ultimate need is someone to buy the product. By whichever way. Is that really solving a problem? Is that creating different kind of problems?
Okay. So I can say fire.
Okay.
Fire solves a problem, and at the same time it creates problem. when fire
True.
was found in
True.
the Stone Age, all right? So for me, technology is how you use technology to solve problem
Right.
or create problems. So I'm very spiritual and philosophical when it comes to AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. So you can use AI to help the world become a better place, or you can use AI to actually control the world and manipulate people.
So, in your point of view, what is AI? Because I think this is a question I have as well. Like, I imagine AI, and we are all so spoiled with that whole Terminator and what Skynet. That's what AI is supposed to be. But what is actually AI? Like for a common layman to understand.
Okay, very good question. I'll try my best to answer the question. So,
You see?
yeah. So let me just reading the word artificial intelligence. Then you are considered as a real intelligence. Now, sometimes what you know may not be real. Let me be honest. What you know is your perception.
I read this somewhere where we have this concept of knowing, and our awareness of the concept is consistent.
Yeah.
But when they check like how our brain functions, our consciousness of knowing is actually a patchwork of things. And those things may be the real thing, but our brain's actually filling up
The
empty
gaps
spaces.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, and this is why there's this whole term of perception, different perceptions. It's because you and me can look at one thing, but when we go back and come back to the same thing, our brain has patched it up in a different manner.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you say I solved the problem, someone will say actually you did not solve the problem because they said something else. So coming back to artificial intelligence, okay? In a layman's term, today you are already half AI. All right?
We already have.
You already have AI.
Right.
Let me give you an example. Today, you do not leave home without your phone.
True.
All right? You depend
True.
on your phone
Yeah.
because your phone is like an AI device. It has all your contact numbers. It has all the information. It helps you to make a call, to access your bank account, to send an email. So it's an artificial intelligence in your palm.
Right.
All right. Now imagine in the future, all right, as we get more data, AI requires extensive amount of data over a period of time. It's like an infant growing up. So in artificial intelligence, when someone comes and tells me, because there's based on data, there's also based on image, computer vision, and then goes down to deep learning, machine learning, etc. Kind of thing. So you need data to become intelligent.
Right.
All right. So as if you build an AI engine, in the beginning it's like a baby.
Right.
It doesn't know what's going on. So you feed it information based on patterns. Then you know this is an apple, this is an orange, or this is a spoiled orange. So you need to give him information so that it will start to learn. All right, over a period of time. And as it learns and learns and learns, then it becomes okay. I will know that's a bad orange.
Okay.
Reject it.
Right.
All right. So AI is also used in example for manufacturing. All right. So it can actually, with computer vision, it can know that particular device that's been manufactured is defect.
Right.
All right. Because it's captured enough data to understand that. So in an enterprise way, that's how AI is used.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Now in the medical aspect, AI is also used extensively because it's capturing enough data across medical fields, across the internet, and then able to diagnose a particular illness based on an image and other inputs, all right, and tell you that this person is a potential cancer patient based on the pattern that we see, because the AI has enough intelligence.
Right.
So the doctor only has certain amount of intelligence,
Right.
all right, and AI still doesn't have, I call it the soul, the conscience,
Right.
all right. It would not know, like they always use an example when he's driving the autonomous car. He's got a kid on the left and an old man. I have to either hit one of them because I'm gonna. So who do you pick?
Yeah.
All right. So when you're a human being, there are many things at that moment you yourself wouldn't know what to do.
Right.
All right.
But you go with your gut.
Gut.
kind of thing.
And based on your past experience,
Yes.
if you have a child,
Right.
all right,
Right.
all right, and your parents were not alive,
Right.
you will not hit the child. I'm saying, example, it could happen. Because you look at the kid, you think of your child. You sway towards the elder. But you don't have a kid, and you have your parents with you, and you so much love. It's like you see this old person, like, shit, I shouldn't, because like my father, you'll end up hitting the kid. All right? So it's you and your past experience and things that a machine cannot do.
Right.
All right? So that's AI. So when people tell me, should I be worried about AI, I lose my job? Yes, you should. I'm saying that you should. Because like going back to your topic, we are lazy,
Right.
a human race, all right?
Right.
So how do we overcome that
Right.
laziness?
Right.
We have to constantly upskill and reskill.
Right.
All right. If
Right.
not, AI will continue to automate processes
Right.
where you become redundant.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And then the human race will have an issue. Oh, they blame the AI for their laziness.
So there's this thought about that. I know we're talking about human laziness, but there is a point here. So again, AI it requires a huge number of data, right? A huge number of data points before it's able to accurately, to some degree, accurately make decisions and make choices and actions after that. It's mentioned somewhere that there's one thing right now engineers and scientists cannot imagine AI getting, which is that human inference level. So they gave some numbers, like I can't remember the exact numbers, where AI would require a few thousands of data points before it starts making accurate enough information, versus a human being needing only about 5 to 7 instances before it starts inferring to some level of accuracy. Like you think about it, like how fast do we learn something?
Okay.
How fast can we learn something, right? So is that in nature already making us lazy? Because think about it, like we are so used to like, what is that shortcut?
Yeah.
What is that shortcut? Because I know that I can do this in like 5 learnings. Why do I need to sit and do that whole thing of practice?
Correct.
I think that's also getting in the way of us as well.
Yeah.
Where we try to look for shortcuts and we try to create shortcuts for ourselves. Now then, that point of yours, don't you think people should be afraid? Like, we can make ourselves, in a sense, extinct.
Okay. So, you know how you overcome, or human race overcome fear is by blaming somebody else.
That's the natural reaction.
Right? So they will not look inside. That goes back to my favorite topic, inside out. You always look outside. So you'll blame the technology, you blame the politician, you blame the industry, you blame Apple, you blame everybody else, except you blame yourself. Actually, in true fact, you are in control of your own destiny. All right? So there is a wake up that the human race needs to understand. Your fears, it's you created it. All right? So it's a perception. Fear is a perception, and then how you use that fear to your advantage.
Right.
So some people use that fear to do better, improve themselves. Okay, I got to take action. I got to take action. I have to come out of my comfort zone so that I can learn and do something else. All right. So it is a struggle, and you will see that. You will see that more and more. Why? Technology. Because everything is in your hands. I can now order for food from an app, Uber food, easy, bang, food comes in. I don't have to move. I can now, with the COVID, everyone's sitting at home doing the work. All right. So everyone's becoming too comfortable in this zone. Now, if you wait and see next year when they're asked to come back to work, there is going to be a struggle. Some are so comfortable working from home, the interaction of coming out with other people becomes an issue. All right. At the same token, there are people who can't handle. They need human interaction. They are not lazy. They need to get out and do stuff, and they are going through their own tension.
Right.
And they are the ones like you and me want to get out and just move. All right. So there will be a massive shift in the human race, which is you will start to see in the next 50 years, where those who are so comfortable in their ship and those who are explorers. So you see the world going through another motion again, right? And these are the guys, because you notice now traveling is not going to be easy.
Not going to
be easy, all right? Not easy because there's no flights and no technology, because every country is closed the borders, you can fly. And now they're saying you need to show that you've been vaccinated.
Right.
You need to have a special token on your passport.
Right.
Then you can travel.
Right.
All right. It's not about the money. All right. So a lot of people say, I'm just going to sit here. I don't want to travel. I'm lazy. Then there's a new breed of explorers is going to come out. Right. Who are willing to take the risk, take the vaccine, and go out there and get the job done. And there's a new breed of people coming up.
Right.
And I don't know how they will look like, and they will take advantage of technology. Those who say, no, I'm going to use technology and do the Zoom and Boom and Beam, whatever, they don't realize they're going to be left behind.
And that is quite important of a angle which you just went on there. Because I think one of the reasons why this perception of laziness is there as well is those of us, and I say us here because I do believe that some of us are in a sense not similar to everybody else. Like you just said it. You, similar to me, I prefer even in this so-called pandemic period. Yeah, be careful, but I really still prefer to come out. I still really prefer to meet the person, talk to the person. That human interaction is still very important. And that makes me feel like, okay, I'm grabbing an opportunity. If I'm sitting at home and looking at a computer, sure, I can explore, but it feels like it's just exploration without something of an action happening. Now, you just mentioned about how the world is going to change when it comes to travel. There's going to be a new breed to exploring and all that. But there is a perception, and this was actually written in this book by, I got this reference just now, just reading up before we started talking. It's actually by Robert J. Gordon, right? Rise and Fall of American Growth. But he was talking about growth as a whole. And one of the things quite interestingly covered was, one of the reasons why there's human laziness is because human beings are unequal.
Okay.
They're not equal.
Yep.
Right? Where we were talking about 4G and 5G technology before we came on. Remember that? Where even 4G is not everywhere.
Yep.
Right? And that causes a problem.
Yep.
Those who can get it, those who want to get it, will go get it. Back to your reference of that explorer thing. Those who want to get it, who can get it, will go get it.
Yep.
The rest, like you said, humans are lazy. Are lazy by nature. They won't. They'll say like, why do I need to go?
Yeah.
I got Zoom.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And that then creates a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger divide. Because those who are going out to get it, those who are going out to try new technologies, those who are trying out new ways to do things, those who are consistently finding ways to improve, solve problems.
Correct.
They will continue to solve problems. They will continue to advance themselves. But the rest, they will get left behind. And the tendency is the rest is usually a bigger
the
slope
lower of the pyramid.
Right. So is there even a case that can we get human beings to be less lazy? Or is it just going to be a case that this is always going to be a situation that we're going to have? Because it'll be pandemic today. It'll be something else in the future, right? Even I read the story before where when Henry Ford created the car, he was first ridiculed until World War. He was ridiculed because why do you need a car? Why do you need a car when there's horses? But those who tried said that, it's actually something that improves. It's not great yet, but it's something that improves life.
Correct.
And then World War happened. And then there you go. Yeah. Everyone needed a car, right? And when everyone needed a car, there's still a population of the have-nots who don't get it.
Yeah.
Even now, like we have information technology. Information technology has been talked about, like I remember in the 90s.
Yes.
But even now, people still don't understand that. So I don't know. I have this feeling that it's just going to always be this case where there will be some who go after it, and the rest will be left behind.
Yeah.
And that creates this perception that human beings are lazy because it's laziness out of ignorance.
Yeah, ignorance, correct. I think the majority. Let me say this. That's what makes life beautiful.
Okay.
If all of us were not lazy, then who are my customers?
Right.
Right? Think about it. Who are my customers?
True.
So a lot of technology is designed for B2C to help the lazy.
Right.
So I go back to Uber food. They're lazy.
Right.
They don't want to go out there. They don't want to cook. So they want to order food. All right. So it's solving the problems of the lazy people. All right. But at the same token, I don't like to brand them lazy. It's a choice they have made to actually say, I'm not going to do this. And I have to respect them. So what I think the future is, the word lazy shouldn't be used or will maybe disappear. That it will create a breed of people, like I said earlier, that these are the users.
Right.
All right?
Right.
So they become the users. Then between the users are the innovators, the problem solvers. All right? And then they come the entrepreneurs, the next layer. So you got a large, so when you look at a pyramid, there's a large group of users. Right? Then you got the innovators and the problem solvers, and then come the entrepreneurs who will fund this thing to provide solutions for the users. Right? Users will be happy because why? Because they got a problem solved. The entrepreneurs will be happy because I have a way to make my money with innovation, and there's a market. Right? So it's an ongoing exercise.
Right.
You won't. But at the same token, some of the users are actually innovators and also problem solvers. Example, I see the future where you will be actually having 2 to 3 jobs. All right, the future generation of kids will come out, and in the morning they'll wake up. It's all online.
Right.
They click. Okay, first half of the day I'm going to do some coding for some company.
Right.
All right. In the afternoon I'm going to be teaching music.
Right.
All right. Some person in the morning I'm going to be a physiotherapist. In the second half of the day I'm actually a chef in a restaurant. All right. So you end up doing stuff that you're solving someone's problem. So people will not hire you as a permanent employee. You'll be hired to solve the problems of the company, provide a service.
Right.
So I see future is basically career as a service. You know, got software as a service?
Yeah.
Career as a service. So every individual will become CAS. Exactly. So every individual will become a brand and a product of their own. So you could be sitting in the house saying, listen, I can do this, bang, do this, I'll be paid through Bitcoin or, whatever my method, and I do my stuff. So the users, you start to see the innovators and the problem solvers dropping into the user group because you can do a lot of stuff through the internet. All right? And the only thing is, what I just said is all about system and processes. All right? Then come the connection, real people connection.
Okay.
All right? Where the big movers and shakers, they don't do the business or interactions via the internet. They do face to face. So there will be an elite group of leaders or individuals or companies who will actually rule the companies going forward. So they don't have to have a team of people. Everything is automated. They come in, they say, this is what we've got to do, bang, pass it down to a group of executors who will execute, and through a career as a service system.
Right. So is this something similar to like what, and correct me if I'm wrong, like what SoftBank is doing?
Yeah.
Where, yes, there's this group of people who have funds, who have this vision of what they'd like to do with that funds, and then they get these others who are executors, per se.
There'll be more and more like that.
Okay.
And it can be a small mini SoftBank. It doesn't have to be a large organization.
Right.
I go back to education.
Right.
All right. I talk about laziness. It's actually you don't blame the kids in uni to say they're lazy, because 200, 300 years ago, basically you want to learn law.
Right.
You learn English or learn science or history in Cambridge. It took you 3 to 4 years. All right. Why after 200 years now you still take 3 to 4 years to do engineering?
Yeah.
All right, degree. I don't understand. Everything's fully automated. The books are there. I used to go. I studied in UK in Leicester University. I used to go queue up the library, pick up a book, and then I put it in order. There's no book. I'll have to wait a week. Then I get the book. Now everything's advanced. Everything's there. Why can't education be shortened to 2 years to do a degree?
Right.
All right. That's the question I asked. Why? Education institutions say, oh no. I said, there's no reason, because that's why students are bored. I got the information already. What's next? What's next? So I feel education is going to become so certification based. You're going to do something, come out, certify yourself based on what you like. Could be 3 months, 6 months courses.
Right.
I believe the next 20 to 30 years, university programs will not be 3 years anymore. It will be shorter. Someone needs to take that leap. All right? It has to happen. I go back again to schools. Okay. Why you have standard 1 to standard 6?
Yeah.
Last 100 years, standard 1 to standard 6.
Yeah.
Why? I've seen kids who are 10 years old can do coding. All right? So the whole mindset has to shift.
Right.
Why is that form 1 to form 5? Why is year 1 to year 7, then year 12 in colleges? Why?
So what is it going to take to shift that mindset?
Okay.
Because
so there is going to be a shift. This generation of people,
right,
through the COVID, where they can realize, hey, I can study from home,
right,
and actually I don't have to physically be there.
Right.
Everything's automated. I'm empowered. All right. Someone will come up with programs where I can give you the same knowledge in a shorter period. All right, and then try to break the barrier of certification. Accreditation of your degree. It's about whether you can do the job.
Right.
So when career as a service comes on board, They don't want to see where you did a degree. You did a degree in engineering, an honors degree in Leicester. Nobody cares. Here's a job. Here's your assignment. You got to finish it in 10 days.
Can you deliver that?
That's it. And the quality is the one. So AI will play a part in assuring the quality of the work you've done.
So something interesting you mentioned there. So that could also mean this whole concept of career progression would not exist anymore, right? Because now it's going to be, okay, this is something I would like to do. This is a problem I like to solve. So I am going to go learn these set of skills, and then I'm going to apply this set of skills.
Correct.
I'm going to make a living out of this set of skills. It could be many. It could be 3, 4, that kind of thing. And I'm not going to be too worried about, am I going to be a manager next day? Am I going to be this? Am I going to be this? Am I going to be this? So that goes away.
Yeah, so absolutely right. Because the thing about I'm not a manager is because we've been comparing ourselves with somebody else. There is going to be a shift of which I advocate. Stop comparing yourself with somebody else. Compare yourself what you were today and tomorrow. Or yesterday.
Right.
What can I do to improve myself better? So compare yourself.
That's going
so
to
it's going to be a shift.
Such a high level of self-realization.
Yeah, so that is why when it comes to career as a service, you are now empowered. You are responsible, so you have to be disciplined, right? Because you want to earn an income, so you need to find a ways to certify kind of thing. You're not going to say, I want to be a CEO, I want to be a VP, I want to be a director in the next 5 years. You say I want to be able to earn what I want and nomadic. Okay. Now, if you look at things how it's going to go forward, I think the next 10 years there will be new forms of education system coming up.
Okay.
And there's a need of shift for parents to move away. Parents always say, I want my son to study, I want daughter to become a doctor, engineer, throughout the world everyone's there. There's going to be a shift. It's about what can you do to make the world a better place?
Right.
What is it's not about passion. When people can say, I want to do what I'm passionate, I say, hold on. Okay.
Honestly,
passion doesn't.
I also say it.
You must do whatever you need, but whatever you do, you must learn to love it.
Okay.
All right?
So you think passion and love is two completely different things?
I think passion comes later.
Right.
All right. You say, I'm passionate about music. Yeah, great. Who's going to feed you? All right. You have to be very practical.
Right.
So you have to learn to love what you do.
Right.
When you learn to love what you do, then passion comes into play.
Okay.
All right. I think passion comes when you're actually serving someone or serving something. All right. What's passion? Passion is about serving. That means trying to help someone solve a problem. You are making the world a better place. I keep saying that. Passion is about serving. And that's the purpose you are as a person.
I see it a bit differently with that whole passion thing, where there's a point in what you said there. The passion is based on serving, right? My point of view of that is passion is based on purpose, right? So love what you do, be passionate about what you do, but be realistic about what you're doing. I've gone that route. Life has taught me about this whole me saying I'm passionate about doing this one thing, I just do that thing, and then I understand that I didn't think about the other side of it. But when I reframed my mind, I understood passion has got a lot to do with purpose. And when you understand your purpose, then it is not about whether you can put food on the table. It's about just you aligning your purpose to what you're doing. Example would be like, before this, I said, okay, I was passionate about music. When I was doing music, I was passionate about music. But that was the mistake. I was passionate about the thing I was doing, not the outcome of what I was doing.
Okay.
Right? And then I understood that, okay, it's not that I'm actually passionate about music. I'm passionate about adding value to people. That's the purpose I like. Adding value to people. And that went off like a light bulb in my head where, okay, if that's what the objective there is, to add value to people. So it doesn't matter whether it's music, it doesn't matter whether this conversation that's going on right now, even the work that I do with Leaderonomics, I add value to people. And because I'm adding value to people, people feel that, okay, I would like to add value back to you. And this value could be knowledge, could be remuneration. So I see passion that way. Passion is purpose.
Correct.
Right? So you need to anchor that on purpose in order for you to be able to be realistic about it. Okay. But if you say, I'm passionate about playing computer games.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to play computer games all day?
Yeah.
But if you say, I'm passionate about the sport I want to be involved in the sport, and computer games is one method of it,
Yeah.
then you possibly can do something else.
Okay. So let me say this. Many people come and tell me I'm looking for my purpose in life.
Right.
Right. Actually, we all know our purpose in life, but we don't want to acknowledge. I give you an example.
Right.
I don't know example. I tell you the two scientific and biological reason. Every living being in the world is to serve each other. The trees, the plants, the animals, we are all living beings. All right. So as soon as you realize you are designed to serve, that's your purpose.
Part of the ecosystem.
Your purpose. Every human race, every human being in this world,
Right.
your purpose is very simple: is to serve. That's it. Right. So now to serve, I will then choose the areas I want to serve.
Right.
I give you an example. You love music.
Right.
All right. So your job is to entertain someone to make that person feel better that day. So you play the music and song to serve them.
Right.
All right. So then a doctor is to serve someone.
Right.
The waiter is to serve someone. The teacher is to serve someone. Me as a CEO is to serve my employees and my customers with the technology that I have. All right. So we are all servants naturally.
Okay.
And we are always in denial. A lot of people are in denial. And so, I need to find my purpose. I said, mate, your purpose is to serve. That's the first thing.
Right.
Then go and do what you love. That's where passion will come.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you are a chef,
Okay.
all right, the purpose, is to serve. Then you love cooking. You start to cook and you serve people. That's when the passion starts to boom.
Right.
And then they say, well, a guy is passionate in cooking, he's passionate as a chef. All right? So everyone needs to ask themselves, I'm here to serve.
Okay.
All right? Not to take.
Right.
A lot of people say, how do I take?
Right.
Those are short term. So example, the guy you said, I like to play PlayStation.
Right.
All right? So he ignores the serve. What can I do to continue playing PlayStation?
Right.
Or let me go and play e-games.
So
It's a short-term
Yeah.
exercise. After a while, he will go always into denial. It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Why am I? Because he forgot the fundamental. He's here to serve. A lot of famous actors, athletes, after a while, they have problems, they go into drugs because they never knew their purpose. Famous stars go into these things because they've lost the perspective that I'm an athlete. All right, I'm here to serve. Yeah, I'm serve my country to sure I win the gold medal. I'm here to serve my people to show that you can be somebody. All right, you must continue that journey. So a lot of some athletes become coaches. They serve
right.
like football coaches. They actually
Right.
some of them were players.
Right.
And you have that mindset of serve. You become the great coaches,
Right.
great athletes.
Right.
And same with actors. Some become coaches and acting, theatre, because constantly serving. Those who stop because they didn't know why they were doing it.
Right.
You're driven by money.
Here's where I think there is a point that you're saying there, right? But I think it's not money. If human beings are intrinsically lazy, we are also intrinsically selfish.
Yep.
I think that's the case because selfishness is just a different marker of self-survival.
Yep.
And it comes from that, right? Because you have to survive yourself first in order for anything else to happen.
Correct.
If you're not
Absolutely,
alive,
yeah.
you can't do anything.
Correct.
I think that's what gets in the way quite a bit. Like,
Okay.
even let's take all the examples that you've been talking about and we've been talking about. Sure, we are part of an ecosystem. We are part of the ecosystem. We serve that ecosystem. Everything we do serves the ecosystem. If you look, your example is great. Any animal, any tree out there, they serve an ecosystem.
And when you serve someone, someone is serving you.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's all part of a net.
Correct.
But I think it's because we are also very cognitive beings. We always think about how can I survive? And that becomes the problem.
Yeah.
When an invention is created, right? On top of being lazy, that's the selfishness. When an invention is created, it was always about the thought of, okay, there's a potential to solve this problem here. So let's solve this problem. And when you solve the problem, then, okay, there's potential to actually make a living out of solving
Correct.
this problem.
Yeah. You're serving someone and correct. And then people get jobs.
And people get jobs as
So
well.
you're serving them. They can serve their family, feed their family.
Correct. But as it happens more and more and more, I think even those who are the explorers and the innovators also become lazy, because at one point you're doing that so well, you're serving so many people, and you're serving yourself like big time. You don't want to innovate anymore. Why change something that works? Why fix the wheel that is broken?
Yeah.
Why fix the wheel that is not broken,
Yeah.
right? Why do we need to create something new? So then we become hindrances to ourselves. Even the businesses become hindrances to themselves. Okay. Like a prime example is, again, I keep on talking about the automobile because it's a very, 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 very interesting example there, which is actually, if people look at it, until only recently, where we have now just the engine alone, until recently when we're talking about electrification, new thought of energy, no one got out of their way to change the technology that was created back in the steam age, a technology of combustion.
Yeah.
We used the same principle. Yeah, we were making it a bit more efficient.
Efficient.
But we didn't fundamentally change that concept, just the engine alone, until recently when electrification came around.
Okay.
And when I guess this is my perception of it, when I look at why that's the case, it's not that we didn't know that we should. A long time ago we knew. There was talks about hydrogen-based engine, electrified engines, very, very long time ago. But we didn't want to change because those who started the change are now serving themselves, being selfish, serving themselves, and also getting lazy. And you don't want to you don't want to create opportunities to move the market.
Okay.
Until someone is strong enough to come in and move the market. But then there's the risk for that person to repeat the cycle again.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm not putting this as a bad thing or a good thing. I'm putting this that this is a human condition.
Okay. So I want you to take this point. Everything that you do, there's an outside impact and an inside impact. You know why there's a drive for electric vehicle? One killer reason is climate change.
Of course.
Pollution.
Yeah.
All right. So before oil was cheap. So why go try and do electric vehicles? That didn't make sense. The businesses did not stack up. Why do electric? Because the electric vehicle will be so expensive, nobody can afford. So I go back again. It's all about business case. All right. So there was no driver for it. The driver started to become visible as we had all these climate issues, pollution, and you know that in UK, by 2030, they will stop selling petrol-based vehicles.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Right?
Yeah.
So countries are starting to take action. Why? It's not because of innovation, because there is climate factor that's going to make their life difficult. All right? So everything you say about why didn't do earlier, because there was no pain to push you to do electric vehicle in the beginning.
Right.
All right. So even in our human race today, let me ask you, if I give you an example, I'm training a football team. All right. So I bring in this whole bunch of 18 guys. We train them. We got a first 11. We go in the field. Now I need to move them to be able to run 100 meters sprint, and within, these are young guys, so it could be 21 seconds, 18 seconds, 19 seconds. Now I can't expect them to do it in 12 seconds straight away. So it's over a period of time, and that there will be a driver that I push them. So example, then he's not running very fast. I'm going to take him out.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to put someone who's going to drive fast. So he's going to say, why am I not playing?
Right.
Because I see you're not running fast enough.
Right.
All right?
Right.
You're not able to get the ball.
Right.
So there is a push from me indirectly that you're not going to play.
Right.
You want to continue being lazy, it's your choice.
Right.
You'll always be the reserve.
Okay.
All right? So over a period of time, it will happen. It's a very natural phenomena. You cannot stop. You can't have all lazy players in the field. You're going to lose. No one's going to fund the team. All right? No one wants to watch you play. So you're going to push for these are drivers. You want to win kind of thing.
Right.
So the human nature will always have those who are lazy. They will say, okay, I'm not going to play football. I'm going home. I'm going to play my piano.
Or there could be even the fellas who say that, look, I'm playing in this team, I am making a living, whether I'm on the bench or up there playing, doesn't matter. I'm okay. I'm completely fine with that.
Okay, so let me say this. True football players, they may speak to them, they hate sitting at the bench.
Of course.
All right?
Yeah.
There's no true, because they want to go out there and perform. Why are they performing? It's for the fans.
Yeah.
So let me use this example. Today, when the Premier League started, and I did tell these guys, I told my friends, you watch and see the players will get tired very fast.
Okay.
All right? There'll be a lot more injuries.
Right.
People say, no, I say, you watch, because there's no energy. They're not serving anyone.
Right.
There's no fans to serve.
Right.
All right? They are just serving each other, but the energy is not there. So they tend to get tired and the injury becomes more. All right? So that's why I think the Premier League, they need to actually have 5 reserve.
Right.
And whoever's making the decision doesn't understand the concept of energy and serving. All right? No, empty stadium, that's it. Fine, let's go. It's a different mindset.
Right.
So I'm a Liverpool fan, okay? I can understand Jurgen Klopp
my
saying,
wife
I
is a
agree with
Liverpool
you.
fan, so,
Yeah?
yeah.
But the thing is, it's so simple. You get into the field, the fans boost you up.
Right.
You're serving them, you're performing.
Right.
All right? When you score the goal, you run towards to the fan.
Right.
You don't go and walk back out of the way. All right?
Correct,
Because you're serving them.
Right.
All right? Now, I don't have anyone to serve.
Right.
All right? So I just run back to my coach, and the energy level is different. So it's very, very different. It's about serving. So, I mean, going back to this issue of people being, lazy and stuff, it's the environment. All right? So you will start to see this kind of things happening.
You kind of got a very, very interesting sort of final point over there. I'm saying final point because Sashi is getting very creative on how he tells me that we are taking too long, right, in this discussion. Last week, he came around with big sign saying 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Now this is Kuti sign over there. Small one saying 1 hour, 5 minutes. Right? So, but actually, really strong point that's there. And I think this is something all of us can get behind as well, which is, we talk about laziness as the lack of motivation to do something, right? And yes, because of all things, being part of this world, being part of this universe, the physics of the universe is such where every matter, every atom tries to take the easiest route to reach a destination.
Path of least resistance.
The path of least resistance. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the theories of thermodynamics, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, but there's a very key message there. Every atom is part of this universe. We are all made out of atoms. We are part of this universe. We are part of this ecosystem, right? And I think it's when we marry both the thought of self-service and the thought of serving somebody else, serving the others, serving everybody. It's when we can move ourselves past this whole, I don't want to do beyond this.
Yeah.
Right? It's that example of a sports person. It's super strong, where we forget that we're doing this sometimes for the other person. When we're in it, we can't see the picture.
Yeah.
Right? When a striker is striking the goal, he got the goal, he's going and celebrating his fan. He's joyful that he actually got the goal.
Yeah.
But he's forgetting, why is he joyful? He's running to the fans and why he's celebrating with them?
Yeah.
Because he's serving them.
Yeah.
I think if we keep reminding ourselves, and especially the message, and this is a very strong message, and we get a chance to talk about this, was people keep saying that the younger generation, the ones that are coming now, the Z generation, are lazy, which I strongly, very, very strongly disagree. It's because I think it's more and more, if you see how they're speaking, they're trying to match this whole, and you said it really well, they're trying to match this whole, how do I do things that not only serve me, but serve everybody else?
Yep.
Right? This is why that lack of so-called aspiration, because when you talk to some of the younger ones, it's not that, I want to get this position or I want to get this pay. I want to do things that I believe in. That's the term you keep on hearing. I want to do things that I believe in. And we ask them, what do you believe in? Why do you believe in it? One is because I derive a lot of joy out of this, but at the same time, I'm helping somebody else.
Okay.
And they do these things. I think that marrying of understanding how you can serve yourself and also serve others at the same time, that's the thing that will change that so-called human laziness thing.
Okay, let me just throw something I never said the whole time. I just wanted to do it at the end. We all have an ego.
The curveball at the end comes.
Okay.
Ego,
all right? Our ego is defined by our level of need for recognition.
Okay.
I go back to the football player.
Right.
Okay, you got all types for
Right.
Ronaldo and all these guys, that kind of thing, recognition. So if you know how to manage your need for recognition, your level of serving is much better and passionate. If you crave for recognition and you don't manage the balance of serving, right, you will bound to get hurt faster, all right, because you're craving for recognition.
Yeah.
How you do this, what you want. I want someone to say, I'm great.
Right.
Right?
And I think
So-
it goes to that point as well. If you crave for recognition, then you will try to keep that recognition.
Yes.
as well.
So even when the human race is craving for recognition. So in this new generation, you see the social media, the craving for recognition, number of likes I have. All right.
Validation.
It's so much. It's the I want you to say I'm looking good. I'm back. That the craving recognition is superseding the need to serve. So I live today. This last message is my fear is a message to everybody is be conscious of your craving for recognition and don't forget the need to serve is more important to give you happiness and peace. All right. If you keep craving for recognition, you're not going to be happy and peaceful. All right. And that's where if you will have all this depression, worried, angry, fear. If you know you are here to serve, the recognition will come naturally. So I call it the 80-20 rule. Today, 80% is demand on recognition from young. Serve only 20%.
Right.
All right. We need to shift it to 80% serving, 20% recognition. Okay, fine. Now you carry it. So, but you don't have to worry about whether people, how many likes you have. And that's my fear of the young.
Right.
And that's where we need to go out there and say, guys, think about serving.
Right.
Your recognition will come naturally.
Right. I think that responsibility that you say we have, and yes, I know there's an age difference between the both of us, but I do believe that we are in that sort of same generational gap. I think a lot of things were discovered and explored while we were around. Like, I remember having the old dial-up phone where you're talking like this. You have one piece here and one piece here. I still remember that, and now we have smartphones.
Yeah.
I will agree that we didn't make sense of everything.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the new generation that are coming up. We want to typecast them. But I also want to leave this final message that you're saying that, yes, we have the responsibility. We have to ensure that there's this balance between self-recognition and service. But I also like to say that I think better than us, the new generation coming up, the one who's going to be the market drivers, right? The ones who are going to be the purchasing power in the market, they are doing better than us. Because think about this current movement against standard social media, advertising on social media. It's the younger generation which is speaking out the loudest against it.
Absolutely. They're making a change from political to the climate change.
Correct.
Absolutely right.
Correct. And
change
even,
in president.
Even,
in America.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Progressive politics
Yes,
as well. It's
correct.
the younger generation who's
Absolutely right.
really championing it and saying that,
Yeah.
you know what, it's not just about you and you alone, it's about all of us together.
Correct.
So I think for the younger ones who are hearing this, don't be too disheartened.
Yeah.
Right?
No, there's absolutely, they are making an impact.
You're doing, especially when it comes to being human, you're doing really well.
Correct.
So don't forget that, keep that going, and I think that will actually help us as a human race. Maybe, like you said, not talk about whether we're lazy or not. How can we be just better human beings and move the race forward in this ecosystem that we're in?
Absolutely.
Right.
Excellent.
Cool. Okay, so Sashi is writing me another message already saying that, hey, how long y'all want to talk? Two bald fellas cannot sit down in the studio. They will just talk and talk and talk and talk. And some are two Indians.
Exactly.
So I just want to leave the listeners with that thought. Just think about it as you move in your day-to-day life. It's not just about the things that you need to do for yourself. It's how are you serving others. And if you strike a balance between the two, you'll find a lot of happiness. And actually, just as a wrap up, there's something that Vicks kind of mentioned about education, and that's key. We can't look at education the same anymore. And this entire podcast, Talk to Me, is brought to you by Necole, actually. And something you mentioned then, that's what we are really striving to do with Necole. Necole is a needs base. So that whole thought of education is when you need to do something to actually master a certain type of skill and go out and actually use that skill.
Correct.
That's what Necole is supposed to do.
Absolutely.
And think of education that way. If it's not even Necole, it's been around now that you want to edit a video, you want to do some skill, you just quickly go learn the skill and do it. Think of future and education in that manner. Get the skill sets that you need. Don't be afraid to go and apply them. Don't read a 300 or 3,000 page book where you're probably only going to use 5% of it. Focus on the 5% and maximize that.
Absolutely.
So,
Excellent.
on that blurb, I'll say Talk to Me is brought to you by Necole, and I was glad that we got moments to agree, we got moments to disagree, and we'll catch you again in the next episode. So thanks, Vicks, for joining us.
Thank you.
Right?
Thanks for this.
We will definitely see Vicks again here because we'll explore other topics which will need his very shiny bald head. Alright? So take care, everybody. We'll catch you again next week.
Thank you.